Okay. Okay, I think we can begin then.
Okay.
So in the package that you paid for, this one only has one strategy, which is the SNB. This one's actually
Okay.
easiest to execute because it only requires one account to be managed when it comes to placing the orders and so on. So it's called the easy SNB. SNB just stands for sell and buy. So the whole idea with this strategy is to hedge the trade. So whichever direction price goes, you don't really have to worry about that. So like I said, it only requires one account. Then within that one account, you're going to be placing a buy stop and a sell stop. Are you aware of what these two types of trades are?
Isn't the buy stop a bullish market? Somewhere there, I'm not sure.
It's got something to do with sorry, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
A buy stop. It's basically just a future trade that you're placing or that you're telling your broker to do. So it's related to buys. So when you place a buy stop, it waits for price to increase to a certain point. That's when your broker enters the trade for you. Then a sell stop is just the opposite. So with the sell stop, your broker waits for price to drop to a certain point. That's when they start placing. That's when they place the order for you, the sell order in this case. So yeah, they're just opposites of each other. So for a buy stop, that's when you want to place a buy in the future. Then for a sell stop, it's when you want to place a sell in the future. So you don't enter a trade there and then it waits for price to move a certain amount before becoming active. I hope you've understood.
Okay. Yes, I've understood.
Yeah, okay. So within that one account, you're going to be placing one buy stop and one sell stop, hence the name SNB, sell and buy. So you're basically placing a buy and a sell, just in case price goes whichever direction. So if price is a buy, the buy stop will be there for you. Then if price is a sell, the sell stop will be there for you. So you're basically hedging the trade.
Okay.
Yeah. The only issue with the easy SNB is that it's less effective than the strategy in the full package, because with this one, you're basically going to be waiting 10 pips before you can enter a trade live. So you wait for the 10 pips to happen. That's when your broker places the buy stop or the sell stop for you. How much do you know about pips? Are you aware of what pips are?
A pip. Pips, isn't it the number of movements taken in the market or something like that?
Yes, it is. A pip is just how we determine how far price has moved. So yeah, with the easy SNB, for each buy stop and each sell stop, you'll be placing them 10 pips away from price's current position. Now, do you know how to calculate pips?
How to calculate it?
How to calculate pips, like how to add 10 pips, 20 pips to price?
No, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go over that. So yeah, for now, just remember that for buy stops and sell stops, you place them 10 pips away from price's current. Okay, let's move on to the next. For the easy SNB, there's a list of strategies that we choose to trade it with. This is the list. It includes CAD GDP, GBP GDP, AUD interest rates, GBP PMI, AUD retail sales, Euro interest rates, and GBP interest rates. So this is the list. Any news event that doesn't appear in here, we don't trade it. So I'll send you a screenshot of this. Yeah, so that you can be using it as a reference. So if you want, you can master the list so that you don't have to be pulling out the picture all the time. Then for news events, how much do you know about news events? What's your idea on what a news event is?
A news event?
Yes.
Isn't it like a report is coming out, like maybe like for the Australian dollar?
Yes.
the interest rates. And that's all I know. Like it's just like it's a report that's coming out. That's all I know about like the news and the other stuff.
Yes, that's right. It's when a country releases a report showing how well the economy is doing. So yeah, these same reports, when they're released, price tends to react there and then because everyone wants to make a profit. So they pour this money into these events, which cause them to move. So that movement is what we choose to trade when it comes to fundamental analysis. Yeah. So in as much as news events are disruptive to price, not all of them are equally as strong. So amongst the list of news events, these are the ones that we choose to trade them with. For the other strategy, it's got its own list as well. So that's why for this one, there's only about 7. So for the other strategy, it's also got its own list. So if you've got both strategies, you'll be trading about 14 times a month. So yeah, that's how it works.
14 times a month.
Yes, for the easy SMB and for the extreme, which is in the full package.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions before we move on?
No, I do not have any.
Okay. Like I said, I'll send you a screenshot of this, so don't worry at the end of the lesson.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can now move on to price. In this example, we're going to be focusing on Euro USD. Now, Euro USD is a non-JPY pair. What that means is it doesn't have JPY anywhere in it. JPY is the Japanese currency. So if you see a currency pair has got JPY in it, that means it's a JPY pair. If it doesn't have any JPY in it, like this currency, Euro USD, that means it's a non-JPY pair. So that's one way of telling currency pairs apart. So there's non-JPY pairs and there's JPY pairs. There's only 2 types. So in this case, this is a non-JPY pair. The other way of telling is by looking at the actual price. For non-JPY pairs, they are all quoted in 5 decimal places. 5 decimal places. Basically, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. So for non-JPY pairs, it's 5 decimal places. Then for JPY pairs, it's 3 decimal places. I'll give you an example later on. So when it comes to non-JPY pairs, in fact, when it comes to all currency pairs, we always ignore the last decimal place here. So for non-JPY pairs, it will be the 5th decimal place that we're going to be ignoring it. Then for JPY pairs, it will be the 3rd decimal place that's going to be ignored. Then when it comes to counting, we start from the next decimal the next decimal place from the one that we've just ignored, which will be the 4th decimal place. That's why we start adding pips from. So this one that's highlighted in green, if it becomes a 3, that means the whole price has gone up by 2 pips. So that's how it is. Yeah. So pips, we always start calculating from the second last decimal place. In this case, it's the 4th decimal place here, in the middle of the 6 and the 2. Then, if for instance we want to add 10 pips, that means we put a 1 here and a 0 here. That's when we can add. So it will be 1.1171. That's a 10 pip increment. I hope you've understood.
It is going to be 1.11771.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then we just leave the 2 just like that.
Yeah, we always ignore the 2. We don't compute it.
Okay.
Yeah. You've understood now?
I've understood.
Yeah. So that's for adding. Then for subtracting, you just put the 1 here and the 0 here. Then you just subtract. So it will be 1.1151 in this case. So that's a 10 pip decrement in price. That's how you subtract and add 10 pips in price.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's price. Are there any questions before we move on?
For subtracting, you said that it's going to be 1.11511.
One. It's going to be 1.1151.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. You basically just put the 1 below the third decimal place, then the 0 below the second last decimal place.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Before I get right into codes, I first want to show you JPY pair. So this is a JPY pair because it's got JPY in it. The currency pair is USD JPY, so it's obviously a JPY pair.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can look at the price here, the price is quoted in 3 decimal places. You can see there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3, this 7 here. Now, just like the non-JPY pairs, we ignore the last decimal place here. That's why it's always in like a small amount. That's why it's smaller than the rest, because it's basically being ignored. Yeah. So when it comes to calculating the pips, we focus on these two here. The decimal place that's right next to the one that we've ignored, and the first decimal place from the decimal here. That's why we started subtracting the pips from. So if this 9 becomes, let's say, an 8, that means the whole price has gone down by 1 pip, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope it's made sense.
Yeah, it's made sense.
Okay. I want to find out, have you ever placed a trade before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you're familiar with this,
On
like how it looks and how to go about it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So when you first open the application, you'll be shown this page, the quote section. This is where I just pick a currency pair when it comes to trading. Now, sometimes the currency pair you're looking for might not appear here. So to add it to this list, you can just click on this plus here, then look through the folders that you'll be given. Then you just tap on the currency pair that you want to add here, and it will be added automatically here. So this is the code section. The next part of the app is the charts, which is here. The charts aren't really important to us because we don't really use the charts to know when to trade and when to exit and stuff like that. It's just there for us to see how far price is reacting to the news event. So you can see the candle in real time and so on. Yeah, because you can, if you put a stop loss, you can see it approaching your stop loss or your take profit and so on. Although we don't really put stop losses and take profits, but anyway, if you decide to put one, yeah, charts are quite useful for you to see how far they are from the stop loss and take profit.
Okay.
Yeah, the next part is this part. This is the part where you can see your balance, your equity, your free margin, and your positions here when you place them. So positions, in this case, there'll be 2 positions. There'll be one for a buy stop and another one for a sell stop. I think I've got a slide. Position. This one here. So this is how it's going to look. Except there won't only be one position, there'll be a second one as well. So the first one, we can assume it before a sell stop, then the second one will be for a buy stop. So yeah, you always have 2 positions here when you're executing the easiest MB. So one for a sell stop and a second one for a buy stop. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be placing them 1 minute before the news event happens. So if the event is at 13:30, at 13:29, that's when you start placing your buy stop and your sell stop. Then you're going to come back to this trade page and you're going to be monitoring the time here, the time at the top. Yeah, or whichever side your time is going to be. Then when the time clocks, you look at the one that gets triggered. Then when it turns blue, or when you see blue everywhere, the one that's blue is the one you start closing first. Then you close the second one. I hope you've understood that.
The one that's in profit, that's the one I closed the first one?
Yes, that's the one you close first. Then when you're done closing the one, you close the other one that hasn't been triggered.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how
But for how long? For how long can I stay in the trade?
Don't stay in the trade for too long, because by the time your trade has become profitable, that means it's most likely reached its maximum profitability for the news event. So the second it becomes blue, you start closing immediately. You close everything immediately. However, you should always start with the one that's been triggered, that's got profit first, then the one that's been second. Yeah. Are there any questions for move on?
No, there's nothing.
Okay. When it comes to placing the trade, from this page, the trade section here, to place a trade, just click on this plus icon here that looks like a SIM card. Then you'll be taken to this part of the app, MetaTrader 4. So here, you're going to be tapping on top of here, instant execution. Then you'll be shown a drop-down menu like this. Then in this menu, you're going to be focusing on the last two options here, buy stop and sell stop. So I'm going to start with the buy stop. So just tap there. Then you're going to be brought to this screen. Now on this screen, you're only going to be focusing on two things. So you're going to be focusing on the stop loss, the lot size, and the price at which you want your broker to execute the trade for you. So assuming your lot size is 1, after calculating it, you leave it like that, lot size 1, then you move on to price. Now price is the position where you want your broker to place the buy for you, since this is a buy stop. So for a buy stop, how you calculate the price is by tapping on this plus here. Just always remember that for a buy stop, we click on the plus. Then from the price that's going to appear here, by us clicking on the plus here, we're going to add 10 pips to it.
Okay.
You're following?
Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah, so by us clicking on the plus here, it's basically getting this number and bringing it down here, because for a buy stop, we always focus on the ask price, the bigger price. That's why I click on the plus and not the minus. So by clicking on the plus, it gets this number and it drops it down here. Then we're going to add 10 pips to it. So adding 10 pips to this, we're going to ignore this. Then we're going to add the 10 pips to these two numbers here. So the number is going to be 1.1781, since we've added a 1 here and we haven't added anything here. So that makes it 10 pips. So that number that you calculated, that's what's going to be here. So it's going to be 1.17816. That's the price. That your broker is going to place the buy for you.
Also, like when it's going to bring the same the asking price.
Yes.
And we're just going to put.
Yeah.
We're going to put 1.17816.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Then after calculating the price, you immediately place the order. Like I said before, don't put a stop loss, don't put a take profit or expiration, because you only have 1 minute to place the orders. So by you calculating the stop loss and the take profit, it might chew into your time and you might end up missing the news event. So just focus on the lot size and the price that you want your broker to place the buy for you. Then immediately click on place. Then when you're done doing that, you're going to start all over again. You're going to click on the plus, which looks like a SIM card. Then you're going to click on instant execution. Then you're going to be shown the drop-down menu. Then since you're done with the buy stop, it's now time for you to place a sell stop. So you click on sell stop. Then you're going to be brought to this part of the app. It's similar to the buy stop. You only focus on the lot size and on the price, except this time, instead of clicking the plus, you're going to be clicking the minus here, which gets the bid price for you and drops it down here. The reason why we click on the plus and the minus is because you could get the prices from here. However, these prices on the chart will be actively moving. So it might be difficult for you to get one single number. So by clicking on the plus and the minus,
Mm.
it gets one number, then brings it down here for you. It saves you time basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So for a sell stop, you click on the minus, it's going to get this price and bring it down here. Then from this price that it's going to bring down, that's what we subtract the 10 pips from. So just like before, I'm going to ignore that when calculating. Then I'm going to be subtracting the 10 pips from here. So subtracting 10 pips from here, the 1 will be here, then the 0 will be here. Then when we subtract, the total price is going to be 1.17598. So that price is what's going to appear here after subtracting. That's what you adjust here. Following? Yeah. So after putting the lot size, which is lot size 1, just like before, and after placing the price here, we click on place immediately. I hope you are following.
I'm following.
Yeah. So that's how it's going to be. You're supposed to do all this within the last minutes when it comes to placing the last minute of the event happening. So if the event is at 14 hours sharp, at 13:59, that's when you start placing the buy stop and the sell stop. Like I said, you don't put any stop loss and take profits because they'll chew into your time. So yeah, you just need to keep practicing so that you can get your time down to as low as possible. Otherwise, if you're able to do it in the last 10 seconds, that will help you out a lot because you get to skip all the movements and spread and so on. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions for now.
Okay, that's fine then. The last part of today's session is investing.com. Are you aware of this application?
Yes, I am.
Have you used it before?
I have just gotten the basics of where like the bulls represent like the volatility and the rest. I'm not familiar with it, but I usually go and check what's happening, like the events that are there, but I don't know how to go about it.
Okay, I see. Okay, so investing.com. But do you have the app in your phone though?
No, I don't have it.
Okay, you'll be required to get it. Okay. So investing.com is the application that we use to know when these news events are going to be happening and what countries are going to be happening in, the type of news events, and the time and so on. Now, when you first download this application, you need to filter it. By filtering it, just click on this funnel icon. Then it's going to give you 3 options here. So there'll be low, medium, and high. So we only want to be seeing the high impact news events. So you're going to uncheck low and you're going to uncheck medium, leaving high checked only. So from there on, it's going to be showing you the events with the 3 bulls here, the high impact. Now, like I said before, in as much as news events cause disruption to price, not all of them are as disruptive as each other. Some of them are more, some of them are less. That's why there's that list that I showed you earlier. So for example, like these aren't really trades that you'll be placing. Events have to be trading, like core durable goods order, crude oil inventories. We don't really trade those because they're not as powerful as the others. Anyway, events like this, retail sales, those are the ones that we choose to trade because they're more volatile than others and so on. So investing.com, we'll start with the time here. So the time when you sign up, when you make an account with investing.com, it's automatically going to adjust your time zone. So don't worry about it being ahead or behind. It automatically adjusts your time zone. So this time that you're seeing here is the Zambian time. Yeah. Then the next tab here is the place where the event is happening. So for this news event happening in the US, and then the next tab shows you the type of news event that it is actually. Then it gives you predictions, it gives you past records, and so on.
Okay.
Now, when it comes, one important thing I should mention about invest.com is the country here. This is the part that helps you know how to pick a currency pair to trade it with. So let's take this news event, for example. Retail sales happening at 03:30 in Australia. Now, how I pick currency pairs is by first getting this, which is AUD, and pairing it with USD. So for this news event, we're going to be using AUD USD because we've gotten the country, which is AUD, and then we've paired it with USD. So for this particular news, we'll be trading AUD USD. You're following?
I'm following.
Okay. Now, another example is this news event here. Since it's already happening in the US and it's already got USD in it, how do you actually pick a currency pair, you might ask? So I'm going to take note of it happening in the US. Then we're going to go to our quotes screen in MetaTrader 4, which is this part. Then we're going to look at all the currency pairs that have got USD in it. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 currency pairs that we could potentially use to trade that USD event with. Now, how do we actually pick a currency pair? How we pick a currency pair is now by comparing the spreads here. So as you can see, they have different spread numbers.
Yes.
Now, spread is just the commission that you're paying your broker. So preferably, we want a currency pair with the lowest spread so that we can enter profitability much quicker. You're following?
Okay. I'm following.
Yeah. So spreads, the lowest spread, that's the one we want. This one has got 19, this one has got 20, 22, 27, 23, 37, 19. So this one and this one have got the same spread. So like, how do you pick amongst those two, since we've narrowed it down to only these two because they were the lowest spread? How do we pick which one to go for? By that, we now look at the actual currencies that are involved in them. So this one has got AUD, this one has got euros. Now, in my opinion, euros is obviously more in demand. So that's the one I'm going to go for because it's going to move a bit more than AUD USD. Because more people are going to be trading Euro USD than AUD USD. I hope you've understood.
I've understood.
Yeah, so that's how you pick a currency pair. So for events that are happening in the US, we're going to be using Euro USD. However, it's always good to be looking at the spread because sometimes this might be lower than this one, although it's a bit rare because more people use Euro USD than AUD USD. But anyway, that's how you pick a currency pair for news events happening in the US.
Okay.
Yeah, so for this one, it falls under the same principles as this one. Well, like you just get the currency and then you pair it with USD. So if we're trading these news events, would have been using Euro USD. Then only for news events that happen in the US already, that's why we now start comparing the spread and so on.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's everything. Do you have any questions before we sum up everything?
I do not have any.
Okay. One important thing I have to mention is this application, Google Clock. What it just does is it shows you the seconds that are left to a news event. So when it comes to practicing, it really helps you out because you can keep track of the number of seconds that you're left with. So, like I said earlier, just be practicing so that you can get your time down to as low as possible. And using this application which shows seconds on the clock will be beneficial for you. So yeah, you can also get it. Then it also shows you how many seconds are left till the news event happens. So yeah, that's what I use as well. Yeah. So like I said, I'll send you a screenshot of this. But if you can, just try and master the news event so that you don't have to pull in out the picture all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So,
Yes, go ahead.
so like in the upgraded package, there is this signal and another there's this strategy and another one.
Yes, there's a second strategy. That's the one I actually use the most because it's more effective than this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll see what I can do by the end of this week. So that I should
All right,
pay
that's
for the
okay.
other one. And I should know both of the strategies.
No problem. Okay, so this session has been recorded. So what I'm going to do is